We're gonna try this. Can you get on there and tell me if it's streaming?
Yeah, I'm on there and it's not.
It's gonna take a second. Hang on. Let me make sure I'm set to. Yeah. Has it started yet?
It's working on it.
Let me invite John. John in here. Why would it give me another option? It like give me the option to call his phone number. Like why would I want to? Why would I want to do that? I don't even know. Oh, we have sound. And do you have a picture, Knack?
Hello?
Hello!
Hey, John.
Hello,
John.
Brian. How are you today?
I'm a little under the weather, so I might cough a little bit in your ear.
That's okay.
I apologize.
So, Brian, the stream's a little jank, right? Because it's cutting off the top of your image.
Oh, that's fine. It's not going to
And-
be there very long.
Okay, and it's also the image is in front of the game, so I don't see the game.
Oh, well, no, I turned that part off.
Oh. Well, you asked me if I saw it, and I didn't because,
Well, there you go. Now do you see it?
well, in about 30 minutes.
In about a second.
Seconds.
In about a second, do we see it?
Moments from
Do
now.
we see it?
Not
Now,
yet.
hi, John. How you doing? This is
Do you still have a checkbox next to the image?
no.
Oh, there it is. All right, so I see your whole desktop.
Okay, but you see the game, the random universe game thing.
Yes, I do.
All right, John. We started doing this thing where we kind of stream what we're talking about to a Twitch channel, and we have a chat room going, so people can talk to us.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to play a little bit of your game here while we talk. I've got that demo you released.
Oh, no.
Oh yes, oh yes. You put a video out of it yourself, sir. So I
I
figured
did. I did indeed.
I figured it was fair game.
It is. Oh.
Awesome. So yeah, the stream should be picking up everyone. Oh,
Yep.
good.
Okay.
Now,
Great. And I can see your
apparently,
stream now.
apparently we're good to go. So I'm gonna get this show. And do I say your last name Brewer?
Yeah, Brewer.
We should, Jim. We should like test this stuff out before we start the stream. Let's do that next week.
No, never. So,
This is
by the
how
way,
the
I
sausage is
mastered I mastered the fine art of voice meter. So now I actually can play sounds and stuff while
Oh.
we're doing Skype.
Oh.
And not have to have the bot come in.
Wah wah.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
But don't do that. Don't do that.
Other thing, John, where are you from?
Boston.
Oh,
Okay.
are you
You
getting?
actually, you look like a buddy of mine, Adam Drew. I don't know if you knew him. He's from
Uh,
Boston.
No, I've never been Adam Drew.
Are you
Okay.
are you going to PAX?
I am not. I am not actually. I have the Kickstarter closing out this weekend.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to focus on that, and
That's fair.
and unfortunately, I'm in this kind of pattern where I always think, oh, if PAX is happening just down the street, I'll be fine with that. You know, I'll just get my tickets for it, and they're invariably sold out.
Yeah, like in a heartbeat.
Yep.
So, folks, if you're just joining us, welcome to the Space Game Junkie podcast, already in progress. I am your co-host Brian, and joining me as always is your co-host Jim.
I'm a little slow tonight. Slower than light.
Oh, come on!
Oh, okay.
Oh, oh. Oh yeah, you're batting 1,000 so far, man. Joining us this week is the developer of a game that's currently in Kickstarter called Slower Than Light. Developer John Brewer. Welcome, John.
Hello. How are you today?
Oh, fantastic! It's a Tuesday. We're podcasting. Space games are being made. It's a wonderful world. It's fantastic. So, excuse me. I'm still under the weather, folks, so I might cough a little bit. I apologize for that. Jim, can you monitor the chat room? Because I can't since it's going.
I'm totally monitoring the chat room.
Thank you. So we're talking about a game called Slower Than Light, and now for those, and it's currently in Kickstarter. So before we get into the meat of things, John, tell us about a little bit about like your background, like how long have you been making games? Is it your first game? That sort of thing.
Well, let's see. That depends on your definition of game. No, I've been, writing software for computers since I was 7 years old.
Okay.
And And I got into it to develop games. I mean, that was the reason that I was drawn to programming in the first place. Is I was playing Dig Dug and Space Invader on my grandfather's 386, and I was like, I
Nice.
could do better than this. I could do a lot better than this. Of course, I was 7 years old. Of course, I thought I could do better than that. I could make something with a train. Trains are awesome. So that's kind of the level of thought that was going on there. But so no, I went and I was kind of messing around with programming from a very young age, and then I went to college, got a degree in computer science, actually founded helped charter the game development club at WPI, which was Worcester Polytech, the school that I went to.
I've actually
Um,
heard of that. Jim, did we have someone else on the program that might have gone to that a while back? It sounds familiar.
Not to my recollection. No.
Yeah.
Okay, I might be thinking of something else. Sorry, go ahead.
I,
Jim.
yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. The group that did that is actually very well represented in the games industry today, except for me. I think I was the only person who served on the exec board who didn't go into game development that year. I got offered a preposterous amount of money to go into database development, and I was weak.
Well,
Um,
man, can't. Well, it's hard to say no to a lot of money.
Yeah, it's true. So I spent about 10 years being what is known as a sales engineer, which means that I flew all around the world to various companies and I set up software for them. And it's a great way to spend your 20s. um, Having other people pay for you to go visit Europe and Mexico and fly all over the United States and, get mugged in new and interesting places.
That's a lot better than my sales engineer experience, where I had to lurk behind a desk and just back up a sales guy's BS.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, basically I was doing that overseas.
Wow.
And but it was a lot of fun, but it meant, I was 250 days on the road a year.
Oh my gosh.
You don't really have a life. You don't really have a whole lot of fun. And after a while, it really loses its charm. So in December of 2013, I said, you know what? I think I'm done with this game. I actually had a new job that I was going into that I found that would let me stay at home and just be able to chill out at home, and I'd be able to work on personal projects like Slower Than Light and whatnot.
Nice.
Because, of course, I signed a contract when I was 21 years old. If I picked my nose, the company I was working for owned it. But
Oh, I see. So
so I was like,
hey, Brian, by the way, are you recording?
No, I'm streaming. Oh
We
God.
should start the show.
Son of a.
don't worry, I only
I'm recording now.
Wow. Okay.
But I won't be recording the stream stuff. So okay.
I
good.
should have asked. Sorry, folks. Don't mind our mess. Okay.
You should
Well-
start with welcome everyone.
Welcome everyone again to the Space Game Junkie podcast. Already in progress. I, as 5 minutes ago, am your co-host Brian, and joining me as always, recording thankfully, is my co-host Jim.
Now recording, not like the last time.
I'd like the oh god, yeah. This is a finely tuned machine here, people. This is well engineered for your pleasure. And joining us this week, can't believe I have to say all this again. Is thanks for being a sport, John. Is John Brewer, the developer of the currently in Kickstarter game Slower Than Light. Now, before Jim realized he wasn't recording, which is also partially my fault. I usually remind Jim that he should be recording, so it's a co-effort. It's always a co-effort. John was talking to us about his background. You were working on the road a lot, John. You were working
Yep.
sales engineer
yeah,
for like 10 years, and the reason like you weren't making games at the time is because if you tried, they would own the property. That's where
Yeah.
I think where we left off.
That was a part of it. Yeah, no. Also, there was, just not having a whole hell of a lot of time
Yeah.
on my hands. It was a kind of job that ate your life. Anytime that I wasn't working, I was like, sleep. Sleep would be a most noble goal at this moment.
Oh, that's not cool.
Well, it keeps you busy and it gives you a hell of a work ethic.
True.
So,
True, but you got to have a life outside of sleep and work, I think.
I did.
Oh, that's good.
And yeah, I'm pretty sure it was a life. But no, it was enough that I actually got out. I was not, totally celibate during that period.
Oh,
got
whoa, 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 whoa.
actually
Okay,
engaged,
okay. Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Okay.
Okay, that's a different podcast. All right, Dan Savage is down the hall. But no.
Okay, fair enough.
Did you say you got engaged?
Oh yeah,
Oh,
yep.
congratulations.
That was a major contributing factor to the. By the way, I want to be home sometimes now.
Oh, I bet. Congratulations.
Yeah, good things happen at home.
Yeah, very good things happen at home. That's where the heart is.
Yep.
So you basically started toying with this game because you said this demo, the one I have on my screen here, is from 2011.
Yep, and I actually got this particular. I got Slower Than Light actually signed off on. I had to go file a whole bunch of paperwork and get it approved to say no, seriously. Games about spaceships going to other planets do not have business applications to our company, to our competitors, to our clients, to this, that, the other thing. Demonstrate why the technologies I was developing were not, in fact, usable in any way towards our data operations, et cetera, ad infinitum. And so that was a lot of fun. And so I was working on this, and this was about the only thing that I worked on recreationally for several years.
Right.
It was fun. But so, like I said, late last year, I decided, okay, I think we're done here. I had an opportunity to switch to a new job doing actually data migration, or not data migration, data stuff. My words are failing me. I apologize.
Data things.
Yeah,
it's
data
okay.
things.
It's late there.
With the ones and the zeros, and move them.
And they go there and they do that, and yeah.
And I was going to be off in the health sector, and I was going to be, doing remarkable work and doing, helping fix the healthcare system in this country and helping, make sure that everything works out for everybody and happiness and magic and unicorns all around. And then
thanks, Brewer.
Yep. Well, that didn't work out. No, the company that we were working with tanked almost immediately.
Oh, gosh.
So it's like, well, that was cool. I wonder what I'm going to do now. And I said, I have Slower Than Light sitting on the shelf here, and I have all of the technical problems solved. I have all the really difficult work has been done.
Right.
And so I sat down and I said, yeah, and I had a couple ideas for different games that I could make, but Slower Than Light was by far the furthest along. So I said, okay, if I'm going to make a run at being a professional game developer, this is the card I've got to play. So I spent all of February sitting down, writing out the project plan and, doing a serious analysis of, okay, what's it going to take to get this done? How hard is this going to be? How much of my own money can I put into this project? How much money do I need to raise?
Right.
And then in the middle of March, I said, okay, here we go. We're going to try this.
And your Kickstarter has a lot of good information on it. Screenshots, videos. Oh my God, a pie chart.
The thing
Sorry. Keep your fork. There's pie chart.
Right there. So lots of great information, lots of great updates. But I'm looking at it now, 7,000 out of 30.
Yep. We're in rough shape. Bigger rallies have been made in the history of Kickstarter.
This is true, and
but we're in rough shape right now. There's no two ways about it.
And we'll hopefully help a bit. We're going to try and get you over the goal as best we can.
No, I do appreciate that. I keep an eye on how much of my pledging comes in from SpaceGameJunkie.com.
Anything I can do to help. Now, For people who have not seen the Kickstarter, or the first time maybe they're seeing it is on the stream, sell people on Slower Than Light. What is it? Throw it out there for people.
Okay, Slower Than Light is a game, the basis of which is that humanity has, started exploring the stars, but God damn it, Albert Einstein was right. We cannot go faster than light. We cannot send faster than light signals. And so how do we work around that? How do we, build a galactic empire without having warp drive or without having hyperdrive or jump drive or any of those crazy capabilities?
Very slowly.
Very slowly.
Very slowly. And so, yes, it is a game that takes place over hundreds and thousands of years as Earth builds these technologies and sends out these ships.
Does this play in real time?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay, so
Yep,
you basically take a turn and then log in about 10 years.
and then you die. Yep.
Oh. Well, that should cut development really short, right? You need like a start screen and a...
Oh, I can't tell you how hard the testing is.
I'm sure.
It's terrible. I mean, I keep having to jump in my time machine. But yeah, so and the actual kind of the story, the plot of the game, is actually stolen from the people who are doing like SETI exploration right now. Searching for extraterrestrial life in real life,
Right.
which is the whole concept of we're looking out there and we're seeing that we're not seeing any aliens who have built like massive star-sized starships or Dyson spheres or any of these mega engineering projects or even sending radio signals that we can detect. And that's a little disconcerting. It means one of two things. Either it's really, really rare for life to evolve in the universe, which increasingly we're thinking is not the case, as we're seeing more and more life-capable planets in other star systems and whatnot. The other option is that they are arising, and they are, and civilizations are popping out, and something is coming up to them and stomping them back down.
Right.
And so the sort of adventure, the plot, if you will, of Slower Than Light is taking humanity out to the stars, finding out what it is that is preventing there from being any real galactic spanning civilizations, and then either overcoming it or getting punked by it, depending on how good in the game you are. So the story that gets built by the game is basically going out there, and the game at launch is going to have, I think, 6 different major challenges. I'm sorry, 12 different major challenges, sort of quote-unquote solutions to the paradox. Any one of which it's going to pull at random. It's going to kind of give you hints as to which one you're going to face over the course of the game. It has a gameplay director that coordinates the challenges that you come across.
Ooh, nice.
And then you sort of have this big final confrontation with whatever the final boss ends up being, whether that's an alien race that's actively hunting out other intelligent races and killing them, or whether it's just that, intelligent races tend to, have horrible rebellions and destroy themselves over the course of a year, or any of a number of other possibilities that I think I'm going to wait till release to share.
Nice.
But yeah, so that's essentially the adventure of Slower Than Light.
That's nice and creepy, especially since none of this happens at Faster Than Light, so it's going to take a while to discover.
It's actually creepy as hell.
Yeah, it sounds really creepy. I like that.
I think it's the old gods. The elder gods are coming and eating the worlds.
Spoilers, dude. No. No, you get out there and you can see you can see the effects of what's happening, especially when you have colonies and ships that are way out past where you can communicate with them. Mm-hmm. One thing that we might see later on is that it's entirely possible to throw a colony out there and have it, when it's created, not be able to talk back to the home world. And bad things can happen to those colonies that you will never find out about until you send somebody else out there to find out to go look at them, and then either you find ruins or you find a civilization that has completely forgotten Earth and thought that they were alone in the universe right up until your ship pulled up to them.
Oh God!
Yeah, that's actually a thing that happens, and
Oh, those poor people.
I'm not sure why, but they don't react well.
I don't
And
know if
I
I'd react well. I don't know
I mean
how
that
I'd feel.
legitimately, like from a coding perspective. I know how the populations think, and for some reason they always react negatively to that situation. It seems like they should be about 50-50, just from what I know of the mathematics, but they always seem to be pissed off.
Nice. So it sounds like the game is a pretty fairly advanced AI. It sounds like.
Um, it looks advanced, yes. I mean, it's one of those things. I studied AI pretty extensively when I was in college, and it's relatively easy to create something that behaves in human-like ways, or at least behaves in ways that seem to make sense, even if it's not. I mean, it's sort of like the first time that you play StarCraft against the AI, and it just hands you your head
Right.
because you don't understand how it thinks or what it's doing, and you're not very good at the game at first. Or at least I wasn't. I don't know how far behind the curve I was when that came out.
Right. So I got the demo up here, and I watched your video playing the demo. So the first time I tried to make a spaceship, I was, terrible at it. I was absolutely horrible at it. I would everyone would die, run out of fuel, or overshoot.
Yep.
Apparently, because that's what can happen. See, folks, right here is a mission creator, and as John said in his video about it, you basically you don't build a ship and then go explore here, explore there. No, you basically, when you build the ship, it has a purpose. And in this case, I'm building a colony ship with a cryo bay and crew quarters and everything to go to this system, which is 4.4 light years away, Sadal Malik. So basically, I built a ship, and you have specific parts here. So you have antimatter and fusion rockets. Now, where are I would love it if there were tooltips here. So let's go down through some of these. What is the difference between, because I'm stupid, what's the difference between, why do you use an antimatter rocket and why do you use a fusion rocket?
The antimatter rockets basically use a hell of a lot less fuel to generate the same amount of thrust.
Right.
So the practical upshot is that if you're trying to accelerate to, a tenth the speed of light, if you do it with antimatter, you're going to need thousands of tons of it, but it's not going to be, a cataclysmic amount. If you try to do the same thing with the fusion engines, it's, you're going to have to launch something the size of Mars in order to get up to that speed.
Okay.
So, again, this the demo that you're playing with here was the proof of concept. We didn't do any game balancing or anything like that on this. So it's pretty much just use the antimatter engines.
That's what I did. And basically, when you build it, you can run a simulation. And I found a way that the simulation does pretty well. I have 4 rockets and 4 containment systems, a cryo bay, a crew quarters, and a transceiver. And the simulation is that they get there. But let's see what happens when I add 1 fusion rocket, just for the hell of it, and 1 10,000 tank of hydrogen fuel. I run the simulation. Oh, they're still going to get there. So let's take. Oh, okay, they're still going to get there. So let's take off the antimatter rockets because I'm an asshole. And let's see what happens. So let's put 4 fusion rockets on there. 3, 4. And then we'll put 4 of these huge tanks of fuel. And let's see how far it gets. Oh, it didn't even make it past. It made it 102 days. That's as far as it got, and then just ran out of fuel.
How much do you have it accelerating to?
Oh, I don't know. I didn't touch that shit.
Okay, fair enough.
So at mission, because you can set all these different velocities. So let's say I'm gonna set the first goal velocity to
Those are in fractions. See.
5. Let's set that. Right there. And then we'll try the simulation again. Nothing. All right.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's set it at point 10 instead, and we're gonna run the simulation. Nothing. I'm not. Nothing's changing. Because I'm an idiot and I don't understand how this works.
That's no. This was yeah. This is not the most user-friendly design I've ever developed in my life.
But
I
I
will say.
kind of like it. I
Um,
kind of like that it makes you think about it. So it's wow. If I had a lot more rockets, I run out of fuel at 42 days. So let's add a bunch of hydrogen tanks. Let's just go crazy. Let's just go nuts. It'll take 5,000 days to make this ship, and then oh wait. Oh, they overshot the target. Son of a bitch. Okay, so how do I change that? So
yeah.
okay, I guess I have to set the velocity at the
Yep.
destination even slower. Oh no, I probably
Yep.
have to start slower because I have it. I still have it at 10. So let's try it at
Yep.
point 1, as
You
it was
know,
said before, and let's try that.
there are a
Uh,
couple different ways to deal with overshoots. You can add more rockets so that you have higher thrust and you can slow down faster. You can start slowing down further out
right.
from the target, and you can reduce your speed before you start slowing down.
Okay, so they made it, but I had to add like 15 hydrogen tanks, 10,000 ton hydrogen tanks, to do
Yeah.
this. So let's go back to antimatter because that seems a lot more efficient. Uh, and then I tried to make a ship with one of these generational bays, but the mass is like
Yeah, it's
insanely
crazy.
massive. So
Now the
I'm
generational bays are a lot more interesting in the current iteration of Slower Than Light because they're basically little populations.
right.
They're settlements that fly out there, and they have their own politics and they have their own stories that emerge from them as they're on their flight out.
Right.
Um, I have not had a generation ship forget that it was a generation ship yet, but is theoretically supported.
Wow.
So yeah, I mean, when I was writing this, one of my inspirations for this game is that there were a whole bunch of stories, like novels and to a lesser extent movies because it doesn't make great movies, about these slower than light generation ships and colony ships and cryo ships and whatnot going
Yeah.
out. They're written a lot during the middle of the 20th century and the late 20th century, and in like the last 2 or 3 years, there's been a whole bunch of them. There was like Europa Report and there was Pandorum, and I think that there was another one that just came out last year. I forget what the name of it was. And one of my goals when I was writing this is like, I want these plots to be able to happen in my game. It's like this would be really interesting to deal with from the perspective of people sitting back on Earth. Like, oh, hey, we just created a colony of zombie mutant spacemen on that world. I hope they don't figure out space travel. Um, but no, there is a whole bunch of really interesting sort of human level plots that happen in various works of fiction that I thought I would like those to be able to be things that can occur in my universe. That actually
Yeah.
brings the brings the creepiness. It's true, but it also kind of gives a player an experience that I don't think a whole lot of other games in the genre do at this point.
No, because I can't think of another game that really handles slower than light travel without some other kind of cheat, like a jump gate or something, or a wormhole, or something
Yeah.
like that.
No, it's
So,
true.
so yeah,
Um,
there's no game where that I can think of at least. Correct me if I'm wrong, people. Where that just, oh god damn it. It's funny. I'm making these ships, and the ships with the hydrogen and the fusion rocket are take a lot less time than the antimatter. Uh, a lot less time than the antimatter. So I sent off one colony ship, and now I'm sending off another. Don't run out of fuel, you mofo! Son of a bitch, you're almost there. Okay. Two more tanks. Two more tanks. Go. Come
You
on.
you would think that NASA would be able to have some kind of computer that would calculate the optimal amount of fuel
Day
Yeah.
to get there.
635,000. That's how long it's going to take to get
So
to the next closest system, which is Sagan, which is 15, almost
what,
16
2,000
light years
years?
away. Yeah, so let's.
I was gonna say most of the time I can usually get ships there within 60,000 days or so.
At
But-
15 light years?
Or no at how fast? Well,
These are all with
So
fusion.
let's talk. Let's
the
talk about
closest
the
one-
technology that's going on here. Because
Sure.
what goes on with the crew whenever you load colonists on a ship or whatever, and are they assumed to be in hypersleep? Is it a generation ship? What's going on?
There's support for both configurations. On the demo here, you have the cryo bay and you have the generational bay. And the cryo bay is, you take a whole bunch of people, you put them in the freezer, you shoot them off, and the ship wakes them up when they get there. The generational bay is, no, these guys are going to be awake and alive for the 300 years or whatever it takes to get to their destination, and they're going to be living their lives and having children, and then the next generation is going to come up, and so on and so forth. So you actually end up with a number of generations in the middle there that will be born, live, and die in deep
Yeah.
space.
Do you simulate like if a cat stowed away on the ship, and then it's been like
Oh,
1,000
God.
years, then the cat could.
I was
actually
thinking
evolve?
of that. I was thinking of that. I was thinking of that.
I
'Cause
I
it could
seriously
be the master
considered.
cat race.
I did not look at cats.
Yeah, there they go.
I did seriously consider how much I wanted to model like genetic drift, because one of the really interesting things that you end up with in a situation like this, where you have a population of humans separated for thousands of years, is that you can actually end up with a population that's genetically incompatible
Come on, buddy.
with humans from Earth. It's like, no, we cannot interbreed. We've just been apart that long.
Ooh, they made it.
Um,
It took like a few thousand years, but they made it. To the Sagan. I have two colonies. So what if I want them to talk to each other? Because I'm sorry to interrupt. In the demo, you said you could make like a relay. How do you do that?
Okay. Is that that's a new ship.
Well, I have two new
Okay.
colonies now.
Oh, I'm sorry. I haven't. I'm seeing the feed 30 seconds ago.
Sorry. Yeah, no, I have two new colonies now. So I want to make more. I want to make more colonies. I like these
Okay.
ones. I like these ones here.
Okay. Basically, what you do is you need to build a ship that's just a transceiver
Oh, interesting.
and a rocket engine. And what you do is just tell it, instead of going all the way out there and colonizing, you tell them at a distance that's about halfway between the home world and the colony, just stop. Just make your speed 0.
Oh, okay. So let's.
Oh,
see.
okay. So you actually have the ones up there. That means that they can actually, if you double click on those, you should get the information from the colony, and I suspect that those can at least transmit to the home world.
Yeah.
Because you can't see them at all.
Yeah, we got
So do you-
the last report we got from this one colony was 5 years ago.
So do you
There you
simulate
go.
Funny.
whenever you're traveling from one system to another? Do you actually simulate that they're under thrust halfway, and then the ship does a 180 and slows down the rest of the way, or do you have a quick acceleration up to almost light speed and then you just drift? Like, what's your engine technology here, and does it evolve?
It really depends on what the ships are doing and how you design them. Almost everything will accelerate up to whatever its cruise velocity is, spend a long time in its cruise phase at that speed, and then decelerate at the other end. Just because, like the Buzzard Ram Scoop, which I actually posted a blog article about a while ago, is the hypothetical ship that accelerates halfway to its destination, decelerates the other half of the way to its destination, and it's a really neat concept. And over the course of researching this game and writing the engine and reading up about all of this stuff, I discovered that it is utter bull. Unfortunately, it just doesn't work. At least it doesn't work in accelerating halfway to the destination, decelerating the other way. It does other things that are kind of interesting. The most fascinating of which I found is that you actually have to worry about aerodynamics with ram scoop ships and things like that, which sounds crazy because space is a vacuum, right?
Well, you're going to have free hydrogen atoms that are floating around out there, right? So, but it's the thing of like you can't count that you're on having a certain density of hydrogen that you're going to swim through the whole time. So it's going to be kind of hit and miss, right?
No, and in fact, you're particularly unfortunate if you're leaving our solar system.
Yeah, because the sun's gravity has already collected everything that's within a radius of us, right? So you have to get so far away before you would see any free floating.
Well, it's not only that. It's that we live in the middle of a galactic structure called the local bubble, which is called the local bubble because the space around us is particularly low in free-floating hydrogen and helium. The rest of the galaxy actually has more of this stuff sitting out in the void than we do. We're in this 300 light-year wide bubble that's just relatively empty, even for empty space, which is really terrible for us. On the one hand, it means that when we do go very, very fast around our neck of the woods, we have less resistance from the void of space. But unfortunately, it means that if we're out there, trying to collect trace hydrogen, we have less to work with than we would otherwise. One of the most interesting things about working on this project was discovering, wow, space has like complex terrain, and has different properties that really affect your ability to move around. And this is really interesting. Why hasn't anybody else written a game where you need to manage this kind of stuff?
Well, some games have nebulas and stuff.
Exactly. Like you can play Star Trek Armada, and God, I'm dating myself by saying that, aren't I?
Hey, that's a fabulous game.
It is. I logged a lot of hours on that game. But yeah, it's like, oh, well, yellow nebulas kill your crew. Red nebulas damage your ships. Green nebulas will heal you.
Oh, yeah, right. Oh, God.
It's like, okay, so that's cool. And you have asteroids and things like that in Homeworld, and at some point I'm going to reference a game that was released in this century, and we're all going to be much happier for it. But
oh, I think I might have a problem. Okay, I made another colony, and now all these unnamed ships are popping up. I only built like one. What is going on? Stop it. I have 4 colonies now. Leave me alone. What are you doing? It's the cat. That's what it is. The cat. It's totally the cat.
It's evolving.
oh,
That's funny.
that's neat. You got like ships bouncing around there. I've never seen that before.
Yeah, I don't know what this is doing. It's all these news reports, and I made 2 relays. There are 2 relays. There's one here. You're gonna see it in like 10 seconds, and there's one between these 2 planets, Sidal and Sagin, and there's one between Sagin, and Kuma. And so I put the relays there so we'd be able to keep track of our colony ships as they flew by, which is actually an awesome idea. But now it just keeps telling me that new ships keep being built. Come on.
Yeah,
I haven't built any new ships. I think it's bugged. I think your thing is bugged.
It might well be.
So you were saying about space terrain. Sorry to interrupt.
Oh, no, not at all.
Please continue.
No. Yeah, I'm talking about the exciting properties of empty space. I think that you can interrupt me for bugs in the
Hey, you know what? Anything that makes space more interesting, I'm all for it. I can't imagine that all of space is just nothingness. There's stuff out there, like you were saying.
There is. No, and it's and it's actually been really interesting. And once I learned more astrophysics with this, writing this game than I ever thought I would. I actually am working with a PhD up at Brandeis University, which is just down the road from where I am. who's helping me with some of the mathematics and the more complex pieces of theory. And I remember I went to him with this design document a while ago while we were doing the relativity parts of Slower Than Light. And I'm like, yeah, I got the special relativity down now, but it's like this general relativity stuff. I can't figure out how to solve it. It's really interesting, and there's some really interesting effects from here that I think will be fun to play with. So I want to put it in. And he kind of looks at me, and he said to me, John, if you write the program described in this design document, they will give you a PhD. So I said, maybe I should set my sights a little closer to home.
Right.
And so yeah, it's it's actually been interesting because I knew that when I was gonna run into people all over the spectrum of hard simulationists up to to very kind of casual Facebook gamers when I did the Kickstarter, and I have definitely had people come up to me and ask, virtually come up to me and ask me, well, how are you handling, this theorem and this, piece of theory? And, it's like Stephen Hawking published a paper last week on this, and how's your game handling that? I'm like, dude, I think you misunderstand game. I'm pretty sure I misunderstand game, and, and I'm not that crazy.
Right.
But no, I've had a number of very interesting conversations while working on this project.
Well, how are you modeling communications? Because once you kiss a ship goodbye, you basically aren't going to talk to it again because it's on its way and it's traveling at almost the speed of the best possible communications. So, and also once you get into light years of distance, we don't have a laser that we can focus well enough that doesn't dissipate. So it's not like you can use like a tight beam laser to call home multiple light years away. So it would have to be some sort of radio wave, right? Oh, well,
once you start getting up to those energy levels, there's no real point in distinguishing between lasers and radios. You're dealing with, some sort of electromagnetic signal. And yeah, basically when you start the game, right now the game starts in 2015, and I'm not sure whether I'm going to keep that or whether I'm going to have the starting point be a little further in the future, just because we are not well equipped to do even interplanetary colonization, let alone interstellar colonization, in 2015. So the start of the game is kind of slow as it stands today. But you do eventually develop communications that can reach all the way across the map. Right now, the game supports maps 300 light years to a side. And you can eventually build lasers that can at least communicate across a large percentage of that distance.
So what about stuff like particle entanglement? It's kind of like in Ender's Game, the whole Ansible, but that's a bunch of hand waving and stuff. So, but is that like a technology that you could say, well, it's plausible, so we can let you evolve your technology to that level?
I intentionally didn't put in superluminal quantum entanglement principles. Quantum entanglement is weird because it's something that everybody kind of pops up with when I talk about this project. This and the Alcubierre drive are the two things that I hear about every time that I pitch this project. And the fact of the matter is that it's not entirely clear at this point that those signals actually propagate faster than light. They might, and they might not. And if they do, it might, and if they don't, then we just have sort of a quirk of the mathematics that makes it look like they do when you do the math. But no. To answer your question shortly, the quantum entanglement technology doesn't look like something that is going to make the final release for this.
No, you have to invent it, like before the game can come out. Yeah. So get that grant now.
But the game does have research, if I recall, right?
It absolutely does. And I actually released a video just this morning.
Yeah, I watched that. That was cool. But for people who haven't watched the video, give us a quick run through if you don't mind. Does that let you? I'm forgetting. Sorry, I'm a little fuzzy on cold medicine. Does that let you like build engines that make you go a little faster, closer to the speed of light? You know, that sort of
Yeah.
thing.
Basically, the research model is a little weird. I did something special with it, and I'm not
Right.
sure whether it's going to be whether it was good special or bad special. um, but the way that research works is you sort of have your pool of research points that you either allocate to basic research or applied research. And basic research is like we're going to invent an antimatter engine, or we're going to invent you know a new kind of light bulb. And the applied research is um, each of those areas that basic research unlocks gives you an ability that you can bestow on a component. You know, things like I can burn hydrogen and oxygen to generate thrust because I'm an engine, or I can store electrical power, or I can put humans to sleep for 300 years and wake them up and have them still be alive. And each of those have certain properties, like how much mass does this add to your ship? How efficient are these engines? How much structure does this tank have to the amount of fuel that it carries, so on and so forth. And your applied research lets you research those properties. So when you've got them to sort of a level that you want them to be in, you go off and say, okay, I want to create a new engine, and I want to be able to do all of these things that I've researched. And the component goes through the component development process, and eventually you get your prototype component. And the game says, okay, this is as far as we can get on, in the laboratory and on the blackboard. We have to fly this component before we can tell whether or not it's worth anything. So the last phase of your research is actually putting the thing that you've researched onto a ship or onto a probe or whatever, and flying it around the solar system or around the galaxy if you're particularly ambitious. And the more and more that a component gets used, the greater its reliability is.
Oh.
So, and this was something where I was like, well, this kind of better approximates the way that we actually do space research, where we're like, okay, we're one of the big issues facing manned spaceflight, or actually spaceflight in general these days, is that in order to launch something into space, it needs to be flying on flight-proven components.
Sure.
I don't know if you've heard Elon Musk's rant about this when he made SpaceX, but he said, well, we have all this stuff, and we haven't really built a new rocket engine since about 1978, because in order to build a new one, you have to have flown it. And in order to have flown it, you have to have built it. So we're in this weird catch-22 with rocket technology. So I'm going to tell all of you to go away, and I'm just going to build my own rockets, and then you guys can rent them from me. And so far, that business plan seems to be working out pretty well for him. But so the way that Slower Than Light handles its research model is very much based around that, where the basic research tells you the general category of the thing that you can build, and then the applied research lets you customize it to work the way that you want. Whether you say, no, I just want this to be really light, and I'm willing to spend research points to make it lighter, or I really want this to be, ultra efficient. I'm going to spend research point on increasing the efficiency of this. I don't really care how much it weighs.
Right.
And then,
Sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
no, and then, theoretically you can. No, actually, you can't max those out. You can effectively max them out, but they have research levels, but the research level goes to infinity or near as, makes no odds. So you can just keep researching, and you keep getting smaller and smaller incremental improvements.
Right. I also wanted to ask you about the planets themselves. Like when you start a colony, like since time is moving so fast, I can't imagine you have to deal with stuff that like you would in a slower paced game, like politics or espionage or whatever, because you're talking hundreds of years going by in a blink. So is that like abstracted in the game? Is that even mentioned in the game? That kind of stuff?
The game takes place on long periods of time, but they're not that long. Which is another thing that I thought was fascinating while I was working on this. Is like, wow, actually, the lifetime of a human, or even the career of a human, you know, is long enough to make a difference on this scale. And so the political systems are largely driven off of the populations of planets, where the
Right.
populations are modeled as groups of people. They're broken down into various socioeconomic classes, and then depending on the government type of the planet, the people and the current ruler choose the new ruler when the old ruler goes out of power, which is going to happen every couple dozen years. And what that will do is that will slowly kind of cause well, not even slowly in some cases, cause planets to drift sort of around the political spectrum. And I've specifically limited my political spectrum to things that really matter on the galactic level, which are basically whether you are sort of isolationist or expansionist, whether a planet or colony is going to really be behind putting its resources into building more spaceships and building more colonies, expanding humanity, or if they're more of a, no, we have problems here on our planet and we're just going to worry about those problems for us and we're not going to worry too much about the outside world. So that's one axis of the political system in the game. The other axis is sort of the why am I having a word failure? I'm having a word failure because I'm on a podcast. And that's usually when my my brain farts out on me.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But anyway, the other axis is Empire versus Home Rule, which is are these guys like is this colony a team player? When you get to sort of the meat of the game, and when you're like, okay, look, there's this issue that's threatening to destroy humanity, whether it's aliens or whether it's internal infighting or whether it's a plague or whatever you have. When the cards really hit the table, are these guys likely to help, or are they likely to say, no, this is your problem, we're cool here, we're going to just kind of impersonate a single world civilization, and we're going to trust that that's not going to come get us? And so over the course of the game, early on when you're you care more about the isolationism expansion area, and you do what you can to make sure that the colonies that you create are going to help you expand, and are going to help get out into space. And then later, as the game progresses and you start dealing with challenges on the galactic stage that require the coordination of multiple colonies and multiple worlds, then the second axis, the kind of are you really in this for humanity, or are you in this for your colony? That axis starts playing a much bigger role in the mid to late game, where you start having to really lean on some of your more independently minded colonies.
And that's I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Please.
I just was wondering because, like, what if, like, you make a request of one of your colonies, it takes 10 years for the message to get there, 10 years for the message to get back, and, like, priorities in that colony have changed in the last 20 years, so by the time you get the message, it's kind of, moot.
And that will sometimes happen.
Good.
Generally speaking, the communications that you send back and forth to colonies are usually larger scale than larger scale than their sort of petty politics of that colony. You have the much bigger view in mind, but there are definitely situations where you're like, no, there's so there's this punk running for office on Tau Ceti 3, and he's just going to take our largest shipyard and say, nope, this is ours now, and we no longer acknowledge Earth screw you. And we need to make sure that he has a terrible accident. And
Okay, I
and
like
that,
what I'm hearing. Go on.
and that's sort of when you start making giving orders to that planet that are intended to either increase the amount of resources that they're distributing to their population to make them happier with the government as is, and so on and so forth. The engine actually supports a fairly complex factionalized system where colonies can break off and you can have multiple colonies like split into political pieces and fight wars between each other and whatnot. That probably won't be in the release version just because the game is hard enough in
I can imagine.
in its current configuration. That might be an expansion if the game actually makes it to production. But I mean, the support and the hooks are in there, and I mean, for instance, right now I modeled the entire surface of every planet, water, mineral distributions, and whatnot. All of that's created when we generate the universe. Very little of it is actually used right now. The hooks are in there for future development to say, okay, no, we're actually going to split this planet into political subdivisions, and there's going to be cities and whatnot. I have when we built the political engine in the first place, we ran some of these wonderful simulations of how cultures would evolve and how they would split up and they would fight wars between each other and they would take resources and cities broke up. And it was absolutely fascinating to watch, but it turned slower than light into psychohistory, the computer game. It was like you just fire stuff off and then you watch what happens. And it was really neat and it was really cool and it was not a game. So the system was kind of backed off from there.
Wow. Now, I do see something interesting here. I see that certain planets have the ability to directly communicate to and from the home world.
Yep.
Because apparently they have enough power. So, but there's this planet like about 30 light years away that doesn't have that ability. So if I build, more relays, will it increase the ability for that planet to talk to the homeworld?
Well, if you can see the planet, I mean, if you have a report on the planet, then it is able to send reports back. It's relaying through somewhere else. If it didn't have a relay path, then you wouldn't be able to see it at all.
Oh, see, I do have a relay between it and my closest colony.
Yeah, then what's happening is it's sending to the relay sending to the colony sending to you.
Ah.
And if you check, I mean, basically what you can do is I think that colonies send out reports every 10 years. So if you look at the data block for that colony and look at its at the time that the report was last sent, you can get a sense for how long it's taking that message to make its way through your communications network to get back to you. And then you can figure out how long your messages are going to take to get to them. And it is almost always in your best interests, unless you have preposterously fast ships, to have the closest colony build a colony ship when you want to go to a new system. Like if you want to colonize Hydra in your game, you'd want to build the ship at Alula.
Right. That's what I'm planning. Yeah. But I'm wondering if Alula's okay, because the latest report is 34 years old.
They're probably okay. This demo does not have that awesome political system that I was just telling you about. This demo is strictly designed to demonstrate the slower than light communications and how you're really just playing with reports of the universe rather than seeing what's actually happening.
Because I gotta say, even in this early stage, I'm enjoying building these things and running these little simulations and see if stuff works. I kind of like that.
So is the Supreme Commander of the Galaxy, where do you actually sit? You're on the home world where ships start from. So you don't get updates until they've had time to get to you then, right? So when
Correct.
you send a ship, do you because I noticed looking at his screen, I was watching the ships fly out, but is that just a projected thing and then
Yes,
you
that
might
is.
find out years like, oh, it never really made it?
Yep. If you watch closely during those flights, the demo that he's playing right now only uses dead reckoning, which is to say, when the ship sends a report back, it says, "I'm here. I'm going in this direction, this fast." So your so the map just says, "Okay, well, I know that he was here at this point and he was going that direction that fast," and so the icon that puts on your screen is where it thinks he is now. And what that means is that if you colonize a star that's far away and that colony can't call back to say, "Hey, we made it, okay, we're fine," the map actually will show the ship just fly right past the star and off into space.
That
Not that
happened to
that
me.
actually, yeah,
That happened to me earlier, and I was like, "No, come back! Wait!" I like that though because it's again creepy. I
it
like
is.
that. This slower stuff, this lack of having magic jump gates and wormholes makes this whole thing kind of like ooh creepy. 1,400,072 days. Wow! Do it, man! Go, go, go! All right, let's do this. Come on, Alula. Wow.
Actually, you're getting up to the point where I had to write a whole new class of date functions because the Windows date, or well, the C sharp date, I guess I should call it, function doesn't handle 5-digit dates. I had a Y10K problem in this game,
Oh my
and
God.
I had to I had to write my own
We're
date.
about to.
And so in this version, you will occasionally see it tell you that it is the 0th of a month,
Oh God.
because I didn't fix that in this version. It has since been repaired in the production version, and it handles leap years and whatnot correctly. But it's one of the more interesting things is that occasionally you'll get a report dated 0 January this year, that year.
I guess I can't click on the ship to see how it's doing.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. Unfortunately, ships don't have reports in this, or they don't have screens rather.
Now, can things run out of power?
In what you're playing right here, no.
Because
Well,
I got a
actually,
relay between these two close planets here, Aincha and oh my God, Zubin.
I
Nah,
did make those up. Those are actually Arabic star names.
Zubin not going to work here anymore. And kudos if anyone gets that reference.
Yes,
And
I've seen Office Space.
yes, and it's blinking in and out. Is that because time is going by so fast? It's just kind of doing that, or is it running out of power? There's
No, I think that might actually just be a render issue.
oh,
Uh,
okay, yeah, because
I can't actually see because on the Twitch feed it looks solid on, but I might.
it keeps
Yeah,
blinking in and out. But yeah, right now I'm on the way to colonize Hydra. So
yep.
hail Hydra. Apparently that's a Captain America thing, and
Yeah. I actually just got back from watching
I've not seen it yet.
the most recent Agent of Shield episode
Okay.
at my friend's house.
I've not seen the Captain America movie yet either.
Yep.
So
I thought it was a very sort of middle of the road entry to the Marvel movie franchise. I thought some of them were good, some of them were bad, and this one was kind of in the middle. And I was informed by my very Marvel savvy friends that I was incorrect.
oh, you mean the sequel or the first Captain America?
No, the one that just came out.
Oh, see,
Yeah.
I'm super excited about it, but I love the first one too. That's it's one of my faves. But I'm not super Marvel savvy. I'm more of a DC guy. But I'm loving the
I,
movies.
I heard there are explosions.
They're the
I
trailer
bet you there are.
alone. The trailer alone looked like there were several explosions in the movie. Lots of things apparently blow up and stuff. Don't no one in the chat room say anything. If you spoil us, I'll hate you forever. Um, so yeah, Hydra Colony is still going. 64 years. Oh my God. Bye bye, buddy. I hope you make it. And now, like, can there be like random accidents you might never know about? Like that Hydra colony ship could get hit by a meteorite and blow up, and you won't know about it for 100 years, or you might never know about it.
Yeah, in the release version, or well, I guess it's not yet the release version, but the prototype version, that will become the release version. Um, the there are definitely failures that come up and happen. Random events that are unfortunate. Like I said, unit or components have a reliability rating,
Right.
and if they fail, and if they fail in the middle of a trip, then it can seriously jeopardize the mission that ship is on. Jeopardizing the mission is kind of astrophysicist talk for exploding violently. Oh no, that's what they call decommissioning. That's what they call it.
Now, like, will you maybe like you send a ship out and you don't hear anything, and then 100 years later you get this like half message? Oh my God, we're not gonna. Is that like? Could that happen? Because that's also really creepy.
There are definitely disasters that can happen. If a ship suffers a major casualty, like the engine's cut out, then it sends a message immediately in the game. It just transmits a distress call saying, "Oh God, we just lost our engines. We're not going to stop in time. This really sucks. Do you have any advice?" And
Oh God.
and generally speaking, of course, they've plowed into a star or whatever by the time you get that message. But the
Oh no! I think Hydra missed. Oh no! It's still going. Stop, buddy.
Did you send a relay out after it?
Yeah, there's a relay
Okay.
between Alula.
Oh, yep, I see it.
Yeah, there's a relay between Alula and Hydra, and I'm just gonna let it keep going for a while. Maybe, hopefully, I'll get a report that there was a colony. But no, it's just going, and I can't scroll the map or anything, so I can't.
Have you used the arrow keys?
Oh, the arrow key. Is that how it works? Oh, I was trying to.
Or hold down the middle mouse button and
hold down the middle mouse button. See, I was just moving around.
Okay.
Hey, they made it. They made it. Good for them. Oh, so you hold down the middle mouse button. Oh, there we go. I see how this works.
Apparently I should have put a note in there.
Hang on. Is there like a README?
No. Oh.
No, there isn't.
There probably isn't. No.
There isn't. Okay, I
I'm bad
never,
about that.
I never would have known
Yep.
that. I was just like in most games, you move the mouse up and down, and but it wasn't working. I didn't even think. Oh, arrow keys, derp, 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 derp. I didn't even think of that. For God's sake, derp, derp, arrow keys, arrows work. Yeah.
Yep. No. I probably should get with the 21st century in my interface design at some point. But no, actually, speaking of the interface, one of the really interesting things that you cannot see in this demo is the changes and the upgrades that we made to the interface for Slower Than Light as it runs now, which unfortunately is not in a state that I'm going to be able to do a video on it by the end of Kickstarter, which I'm really sad about. But I'm going to try.
Now, why is that? Because you don't think it's ready for public consumption?
The thing about the interface, and the thing I have to be really careful with the interface, is the interface is very much in a state of flux at the moment in terms of design, and almost everything that I put out, I have a little note on saying this does not reflect the final interface design of the game. Because right now the entire interface is largely built around me debugging the game.
Right, of course.
So it looks really, it looks really scary. It has a lot of raw values printed on it. A lot of stuff hasn't been converted to sort of the visual bar charts and gauges and whatnot that you're used to seeing in games like this. So the big interface innovation that I'm working on now that works really great from the command line and hasn't been converted to a visual representation yet is the planning system that's in place. There's actually going to be a little bit of it in tomorrow's video. which is doing production and colonies and whatnot, which will give you a little glimmer of it. And basically what it is you give relatively high-level orders. Like with production, you say, I want to build a ship. And I'm going to build a ship for this mission. And what it does is it goes through and it looks at your nearby colonies and it looks at what factories you have built on which facilities. And it just puts together the supply chain for building this ship. So, you don't deal with any of that. It's all handled under the hood. You can look at it and you can watch it happen, which is kind of interesting, and it explains to you why things are going to cost this much and why it's going to take this long, and how in the future you can kind of optimize to make that go faster. But from a decision-making level, you say, build this ship, and it says, okay, here's how we build that ship. We're just going to do it. And the mission design system is a level above that, where you've seen a little bit of how the mission designer works in this game, in this demo, where you don't really build a ship and then send it on a mission. You design this mission and then you build the ship.
Right.
Which is, sort of a departure from the way that most strategy games work. Most strategy games, you build a multi-mission ship and you're like, okay, well, it's a colony ship now and it'll be a warship later and it'll be a scout ship then, and, we'll just kind of move it around this way. You can build those in slower than light, and it supports building multi-mission ships that can be refueled and can carry out different tasks. But at the start of the game, you really don't have very much of that. Pretty much when you build a ship, it does one thing. But the mission designer very much works as one step up from the production designer, which is, okay, I want to build a mission. I want to go colonize Tau Ceti. I need a ship that's going to get there in 600 years. I need a ship that's going to be able to carry 1,000 people. I need a ship that's going to be able to, accelerate to a tenth the speed of light. You give it these restrictions, and then you say, show me some options.
Right.
And then the game goes through and it says, okay, well, we have these components that we have that you've asked us to build. We have these engines, and we have these fuels, and we have these cryo tanks, and so we can put them together this way, and we can get a ship that goes fast. We can put them together this way, get a ship that carries a lot of people. Which of these three options do you want? And then you hit the button, and it goes and it coordinates your production chain and sets up the ship, and then gets the mission ready for you to launch when it's completed. And all of these steps you can do individually, but frankly speaking, a lot of it's not terribly interesting unless you're doing something really special and unique. It's like you say, no, I want to build a ship with, like when you were going earlier and you said you wanted to build a ship that used hydrogen rockets instead of antimatter rockets to go from A to B. And you kind of had to mess with it for a while, and you had to play with it and fiddle with the numbers and whatnot.
Right.
It turns out that that's all much faster if you have the computer do it for you. The computer can cycle through the possibilities much, much more quickly. So if you're not really interested in the minutia of mission planning and, turn on your engines at this point, turn them off at this point, and whatnot, then that's not a barrier to being able to play the rest of the game.
Oh, I like it. So, on your blog, you said what Plan B would be. Oh my God, I can't believe. You said what your Plan B would be. Fuck. I can't say it without. You said you laid out what your Plan B is.
Yeah.
Kickstarter doesn't go through.
Right. If the Kickstarter doesn't come through, I sort of alluded to this earlier in that right now the story I'm going with is that I quit my job to do this, which as I explained earlier isn't entirely true. I quit my job expecting to have work, and then we kind of went, and then when that didn't work out, I kind of embraced this as, well, we can do this. Let's give this a swing. If the Kickstarter doesn't fund, then I really need to just from a personal perspective, I really need to start looking at ways that I'm going to pay my mortgage and feed my family and start taking care of some of the tactical day-to-day
Of course.
issues.
But you'll still work on this.
This project probably will not die a horrible death, which is to say, if there's enough interest that I think that this game is worth building, then I'm going to continue working on it.
Well, you have over 200. You have over 200 backers at this point.
It's true, and there's, and sort of the metric that I'm using is, could I sell? Are there enough people interested in this game that I could, sell a reasonable amount of copies that it would have been worth it? Ignoring the fact of, having all of the hours put together in a pile. If I could have done this, fully funded by some magical source, would it have been worthwhile to do so? I clearly expect that. I think when I finally figured out what the cost of this project was, all told, it was something like $65,000, which would indicate, I would need like at $10 a pop, I need like 7,000 people, 6.5, 7,000 people, to make this project worthwhile, and I'm sitting around 250. So I'm like, okay, there are a lot of people who are really excited about this project, and there are people who have given me hundreds of dollars to work on this game, because they're like, yes, I am totally on board with this. We need more games like this.
I agree.
I am drinking your Kool-Aid. This is fantastic. And but most of the people who are on my game, well, maybe I shouldn't say most. A fair number of the people, a double-digit percentage of the people that I have talked to, because I've made an effort to reach out to, many of the people who have pledged at all levels, is a lot of people are just kind of like, this is something that sounds unique, and I'm willing to throw $10 at it to see if I like it, which is totally fair. I mean, I've done that with many games in the past. And sort of the question of how many people fall into that category and how many people fall into the category of, no, this really needs to be built, is something that I think about when I'm considering what I'm going to do with Slower Than Light, or if I'm going to go with some other idea that's, might be more marketable.
Well, in the chat room, 10 Knack is saying $10 for the game is too cheap.
Yep, I have been told that before too. It's
tough. It's really tough. It's like in a world where we have like the App Store where people are like, "Oh my God, this app is $2.99. What the fuck?" I mean, it's really, it's really tough to find what people are willing to pay for. I totally get it.
Can I tell you a little secret about me? This is a dirty little, I can't believe that he actually does this, but I play Train Simulator, and I've actually played lots of Train Simulator.
So basically, you're living your childhood dream. It's
I am. It's fantastic.
No, I'm not knocking it. I mean, that game has an audience. That game has an audience, and people spend money on all that DLC. That's fantastic.
And it's crazy. I mean, if you want to be doing this, I mean, it's like a hundreds of dollars a year hobby if you're into it. I'm not that far into it. I'm like, okay, you give me, this train, you give me some stops, and I drive the train, and it's like I manage the throttle, and then, I get into my station within 1 minute of my arrival time, and I get my little, hey, you did a good job at the end of the mission, and I feel good about myself, and, that's a tiny market the Train Simulator has.
Right.
There are not a lot of people.
But look at it. They keep pounding out stuff. So apparently enough people are buying it.
Well, that's because that's sort of their market, is that they understand that they have this tiny little market, and they really have to bleed those guys. And that's why you see the game costs, I think, $60 retail. It's still like $20 even when it's on preposterous Steam sales.
Yeah.
And that's the other way that you can go with a game that's this kind of niche. Is I could say, wow, Slower Than Light, yeah, this is a $60 game. You should give me $60, and then you can fly your spaceships around the galaxy, and I will smile at you.
Well,
And that's and that's the other direction that I can go with the game. And I was like, I would feel
See,
really bad about selling this game for $60.
it's a tough call because you run into the distant worlds conundrum. You know what I'm talking
Yes.
about?
Excellent example.
And I try and sell people on that game left and right because it's the best fucking game. And they're like, it's so much money. I'm like, yes, but the investment in time you'll get out of it, you know. So Knack in the chat room is saying $25 should be like that gets you the game, and if you want to pay more for like soundtracks and art and blah blah blah, you know. And I've seen people successfully do that.
Yep. And if I were to do this again, I might go for that.
You totally should, because if you like tomorrow launched, or the day after the Kickstarter, if you
Yep.
launch the alpha on your site, 25 like say $25 is going to be the retail price, or $30 is going to be the retail price, but you guys are getting it for 25, you know, boom, I'd buy it. Oh, but if you want to pay 40 for a soundtrack, done. You know, that sort of thing. I think it would start a little slow, but you'd have enough of a burn through continual upgrades, through constant press, you know, and eventually getting maybe on Steam Greenlight and early access and stuff like that, that you would build enough of an audience that people would pay for this. I mean, 5 years ago, I doubt anyone thought anyone would pay for anything like Kerbal Space Program. You know, 5
No.
years ago, people would be like, no one wants to play that stuff.
Yeah,
And,
it's true.
And that's
And
so.
now it's huge.
And now it's huge, and more stuff like that is coming out. So the audience for this stuff is there. It's never gone away. It's just been underserved. So I honestly think, man, because I just this demo, just this 3-year-old bare bones graphics ain't freaking there when you click on a planet thing. I don't even know what you have like. I don't even know what these symbols are. You have like, I don't know what's that? Is that a deer? Is that antlers? I don't know. Is that bread? What is that? Is that medicine? I don't know what these are. I don't care. I'm enjoying this. You know, I would pay $25 just to get in on the ground floor, and I can't imagine I'm alone in that.
I am glad to hear that. That really that is really encouraging to hear.
Well, one of the things I want to do with my site, besides do this podcast, is promote and encourage indie developers, because God, for years that's all we had. You know, for years we only had the Eastern Europeans and the indie guys giving us a slow drip of space games, you know. And now that more stuff is coming out, we gotta support these people, you know, like you and like everybody else we bring on this damn show. So, shit, yeah, man, I would fucking pay money.
So, I mean, one of the things that I will say is, and this is going to sound, you know, really horrible, like, you know, like I'm an incredible egotist, but I've gotten used to in the past 10 years being really good at what I did.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, just because, you know, sort of the zone I was in, I was never asked to do anything that I wasn't very, very good at. And one of the things that running this Kickstarter has taught me is that I am a fantastic developer. I'm a very smart guy, but I am shit at marketing.
You know what? It's tough because
It is. I have a whole new respect for marketers after doing this.
I work in internet marketing.
Do you?
I study Kickstarters because I would love it if I could maybe consult on these things. I've been in SEO for 10 years.
Yeah.
I'm considered an expert at it, and people at my company pay me a good chunk of money so I can be around to answer people's questions all day and diagnose websites. But I study these Kickstarters, and I see on the whole what passes and what fails, and yet I still see, at the same time, I see campaigns that do all the things that other campaigns do and succeed, that still fail, and it's mesmerizing. But it's amazing how finicky customers can be, and I think another problem with Kickstarter is that a lot of people see it as a pre-order system, and it's
Yeah,
not.
no doubt.
It's not. It's not a pre-order system. You're investing in someone's dream. This game is your dream, and I see this game, and I go, I will give you money to make your dream happen. You know,
Yep.
because I have a dream too, and I would like someone to say that to me one day, so I understand. You know, uh,
Yep. No,
but
absolutely.
it's tough because I mean you definitely have the content there. You've been putting up updates, not every day, but you put up enough, and you do them on your blog. You tell people update my blog, come look at my blog, you know, and been updating your blog regularly. You've been putting out videos and stuff, but something isn't gelling with people. It's
Yep.
kind of hard to say what. So if you want, maybe after the thing is done, you and I off the show, obviously, we should do a
Yep.
post mortem. We should
Yeah,
go
that might
over.
not be a bad
We
idea.
should, because I would like to start maybe diagnosing which ones fail and which ones succeed. Okay, fail is not the right word.
Yeah.
I apologize because you worked your ass off on this. I could tell. And
No, I'm not offended. Um,
but fail, it's also not a very encouraging word. Like I wouldn't say this is a fail. I would say that something didn't hook enough people. And that's what we got to find what it is. And you had a pitch video that was good. I watched it. That's very important. You had a lot of content. You had charts. You had the FAQ with the risks and everything. So I read that Kickstarter. I'm like, I'm going to give money to this. Because there have been so many Kickstarters I've seen for space games where I'm like, no, I'm not giving money to this. This is ridiculous. They either have no pitch video, terrible pitch video, or they don't take a pitch video seriously. I swear I saw one pitch video where these two guys were developing a game. They were brothers or something. And they started the pitch video talking at the same time, like, hello, we are so-and-so, and we want to make it. I'm like, oh, God, I don't want anything to do with you. I'm not even contacting you to come on the show. No, nothing. Oh, God, you frightened me. But, yeah, that's the thing. I don't see anything wrong with how you did this.
No,
You know?
actually, funny story about the pitch video. About
Yeah.
3 days after, I have my blog and I have Google Analytics, so I can see where hits are coming in from. And so whenever a forum post or something goes up, I usually go to check it out because I love reading about myself. And I found this one forum post in Russian, which was very complimentary about me. And they're like, "Wow, this is a fantastic game, and this is a great idea, and I'm really excited for this. I've been wanting this for years." And then this person starts going into very intricate detail over my physical appearance and how handsome I am, and it started getting very, very sexual very, very quickly. And I have never had that happen to me before.
What?
So you
Yeah.
got your first fanfic.
I got fanfic. No, it wasn't quite fanfic, but it was going in that direction. um, and I don't know if it's a Russian thing or if this is something that happens in other places. But yeah, that's the story that I tell everybody about my video. Now, because actually the video I don't get too many comments on. I got so much feedback about my risks section after I put up the Kickstarter.
Really?
Because people are like, your risk section is supposed to be a paragraph saying I'm going to actually do the project.
Huh.
And I didn't do that. I actually, I put together risk analysis like I was writing for a client, and I actually truncated it quite a bit. And I said, okay, here are the risks to this, here are the risks to that. We have a bus number of 1 on this project. If I get hit by a car tomorrow, the project is almost certainly going to fail.
Well, yeah, that's another thing. Like, some people just don't want to read. So while I like all this content, there's an old saying in SEO that content is king, and it's as true today as it was when I started 10 years ago. And while I think this is great, some people are like TLDR. So maybe that's another thing. Maybe got to be like, hey, if you want to read all the things, click here. If not, here's a paragraph.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I'm reading this, and you didn't do anything wrong. I mean, I'm liking it. It's eye catching and everything. It's just really tough to catch people sometimes. And I also think that there might be some sort of there probably is a little Kickstarter fatigue. You know,
Yes, no doubt,
there
absolutely.
definitely is some fatigue with Kickstarters. I don't know if it's if it's hang on. Yeah. Sorry, someone in the chat room. Do you want to go in the chat room, John?
I thought I was in the chat room, and I am apparently not getting the updates. I have had a number of issues with Twitch since the first of the year.
No, it's
and I'm
not
trying to
Twitch.
change
Oh no,
something.
I'm sorry, it's not Twitch. You got to go on my site, and there's a little tab that
Oh,
says
okay.
live
Well,
chat
that's
and
I'm not
stream.
seeing it.
And
Okay.
someone
Um,
in there has some suggestions for you if you want to go in there.
oh, okay.
His name is Knack, so yeah, you can just go on in there and talk to him. But yeah, I've just been looking at this, and it's sometimes it's baffling. Like you'll see well worth Kickstarters like this one, just flailing about through no fault of their own, and it's frustrating.
Well, I think that there were definitely some mistakes that I made just in the strategy of the campaign, which is when I came into this. When I look at a Kickstarter, and I think that I've backed probably 20 or 30 Kickstarters at this point.
Just
The
about
first thing that
just about 30, it says, yeah.
oh, is it okay? Yep, I'm there right on the stream. Duh.
Which that's another thing, like that should engender trust. You would think.
Yeah, actually, I intentionally did this on my own personal account rather than creating sort of a studio account. Um,
Well, I mean, hey, it's all
to
about
try to prevent that.
it's all about branding, man. It is
It's
all
true.
about branding, and if you want to be, if you want to focus on you as your brand, as I am the creator of this, rather than I am a company who created this, then that's the right. You did the right thing. That's the right way to go.
But what I really did was when I came at this, I thought that the big challenge was going to be to convince people that I could actually do what I was saying I was going to do, because I was like, man, I have a lot of work to do. This is like I said. I think I say in the video, it's about 1,500 hours of work that I had figured out it was about to do. It's a little less now because I've been able to do a little bit of development during the campaign. But that's a huge chunk of work. I'm saying that I'm going to get done by October, and I've had a couple of people actually call me out on that and say, hey, your math doesn't work. You can't get this done in the time. And I'm like, well, yeah, I mean, if I wasn't passionate about this and if I hadn't left my job and whatnot, then you'd be absolutely bang on right. But, I have this plan. I'm ready to do this. I have the experience. I've run software projects before. I can do development. I'm very confident in this ability. And I had all of these arguments set up and ready to go to deal with this kind of criticism. And people just weren't wondering about that. They wanted more about the game, and they wanted more, screenshots and videos and content about how it was going to go. And it seems obvious in retrospect to me. That's like, no, clearly we need to have as much as we're going to have available there, and have mock-ups and
Right.
slides of what we don't have available. And so that's one of those things where I'm like, I should have seen that. I should, the obvious should have occurred to me. But in the moment, or in the where a moment is a month here. When I was getting ready for this campaign, just didn't cross my mind. And I think that that's one of the weaknesses of being an individual developer, as opposed to having a cohesive team that I go in and I see every day that I can talk with. Is that I do occasionally get tunnel vision about these sorts of things.
Well, of course, you get target fixation. That totally makes
exactly.
sense. Yeah, that totally makes sense.
But yeah, it's one of the many lessons I've learned doing this.
Well, we should talk some because this is a side note, but I've been thinking maybe I should do some consulting for Kickstarters. I think I could be good at it.
Yeah, consult well, what I will warn you about is I don't know if you've run a Kickstarter before.
I never have, but it's a full-time thing. I know. It's a full-time job.
It's not even that it's a full-time job. It's that you get bombarded with SEO offers constantly.
Really?
From the moment you open your doors to the moment, presumably. I mean, today I've received 3 different unsolicited emails from SEO people asking me to help either with slowerthanlightgame.com or specifically with my Kickstarter.
Could
And
you forward me one of those?
Dude, I can forward you all of them if you want.
Just a few, just a few.
They're,
Because I've been thinking of maybe I could do that, but I want to see what these other people are doing too. Because
I'd say that if you're gonna, I mean, if I had faith in any particular individual, I would jump on the opportunity to have somebody, help me with this because, like I said, marketing is not my strong suit, and this has definitely demonstrated to me that this is something that is worth hiring somebody to handle. That said, trying to determine what is real and what is not, and the amount of content out there from other people who've run Kickstarters who have and have not used these organizations, and it's actually really scary to be stepping into this and having this bombardment of people, some of whom are clearly not very professional, coming after you to help you with your Kickstarter. It's actually really, I wouldn't say intimidating because, they're not like in my face like personal salespeople are, but there's an enormous volume that you receive of people trying to sell you SEO services.
see, if I was doing it, that's not the way I would go about it at all. I mean, that's just not. I don't like that. That's just not professional. It's also not personal.
Yeah, decidedly not. I think that one of the posts, one of the ways that they try to reach me very often is to comment on my blog, and you never see those because obviously they don't get approved on my blog. But one of the ones I got today, the username that they registered as was GTA 5 cheats.
What?
And I was like, GTA 5 cheats? Well, this is obviously spam. And I thought that it was going to be like a Viagra ad or something, but no, it was like actually addressed to me. It said, "Hey, John, I was looking at your website, and I think that you should be trying to, engaging our SEO services." And I'm like, what? Are the people writing your posting engine talking to the people actually doing the marketing here? And
I don't think so, because that is.
No,
if I was doing it, I would contact you directly through your email, or
Yep.
or hopefully I'd have a site where you could find me, because I've been thinking of doing this in the back of my head, and I think I could make a go of it, but I don't know how yet. But I want to try it.
Yeah, no, seriously, coming from working at a consulting agency, the real trick is to have an anchor client.
Anchor client?
Anchor client, somebody that you can work with, that you can, that is going to be using your services enough to keep you fed and working. And until you have that guy, or ideally 2 or 3, going independent isn't really effective. Otherwise, you're just really rolling the dice that you're going to find somebody in the 2 or 3 months after you go.
But I don't think that would work. I don't think that would work with a thing like Kickstarter.
No.
With SEO, it would, I guess, but not with Kickstarter.
Yeah, the problem with Kickstarter is that your client windows are 30 days wide.
Yeah.
I mean, I suppose, with Kickstarters, there is the pre-Kickstarter period where, you want to be raising hype for like a month or 2 ahead of time, or ideally years ahead of time if you have that kind of budget.
Totally.
And then, when you actually, the Kickstarter is kind of the cash-in phase of the whole campaign. So I guess that if you were kind of selling yourself that way, you could, have clients that lasted multiple months. But yeah, definitely if you're just working tactically with Kickstarter, that's a very narrow window you have to acquire your client, develop the business with the client, build a client.
This is all very good stuff.
Yeah. I'm sorry, we were supposed to be talking about space games.
You know what? You know what? You wouldn't believe how often we go off topic on this shit. Seriously. Don't even worry about it. Because, I mean, the great thing about space gaming especially is that gamers who are interested in space games are not just interested in space games.
It's true. No. Space gamers are generally very sensitive, intelligent people who have a wide variety of interests and are generally really intelligent.
Couldn't have said it better. Because you got to have a level of intelligence and appreciation for this stuff.
Absolutely.
To really get it. You can't just be some schmuck wanting to play Ratchet and Clank. Nothing against Ratchet and Clank, but that's a fine series. But I mean, space gaming is is just its own little masterpiece.
It's true.
So what would you say? Let's get back on that topic for a bit. Like you're making a 4X. What
Yes.
are like the influential 4Xs that you love? I'm sure probably
Oh.
Master of Orion 2 is in there. It's in
Uh,
everyone's.
I do like Master of Orion 2. I came to it kind of late to the game.
Hmm.
I played Master of Orion 2 several years after it came out. I played a lot of Masters of Orion 1.
Right.
And I really loved that. And I never got into Mu 2 the same way. No, actually, my gateway 4X was Space Empires,
Ooh.
which is the Aaron Hall series.
The first one?
Space Empires 2 was the one that I got started on.
Okay,
Of course,
yes.
Space Empires 1 never released. Well, Space Empires 1 only released publicly long after.
Yeah.
Um, I think after 3 came out. And I loved Space Empires 2, and I would sit, I think I was in like 5th or 6th grade when it came out. And, me and my friends would just, sit playing hot seat Space Empires for afternoon after afternoon.
Oh, yeah.
And then 3 came out, and then 4 came out, and I played so much Space Empires 4, and then Space Empires 5 came out, and I was very, very heartbroken over that.
A lot. You're not the only one, buddy.
No, it's
3
funny. Actually, sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, actually, in 2007, I got shipped overseas to the Netherlands for a long-term project. For reference, if your company ever tries to send you overseas and they don't give you a ticket for a plane that comes home, don't accept the assignment. That was a boo-boo on my part.
It seems like a way to get rid of somebody, though. It's like, hey, we're going to send you. What's the furthest place away? Yeah.
Yeah.
And then when the paychecks quit coming, it'll sort itself out.
But one of the ways I kept my sanity during that game was I played a play-by-email game of Space Empires 5 with a bunch of my friends back in the States. And that was great, right up until we ran into production bugs and the game crashed out from under us. But no, I love the Space Empires series. And I played Stars.
Oh, God.
Back when that was... which I'm shocked nobody has remade that.
Do you want something crazy?
What?
I have still the discs for Stars Supernova that I got
do
at
you?
E3 in 2000. I actually got to play it once.
In 2000, it was already hard to find in 2000.
No, the first
Wow.
E3 I went to was in, or maybe it was 99. That was the first E3 I went to. But yeah, I still have the discs. I tried getting it to run the other day. The fucking thing wouldn't run. I was really sad because I just found them the other day. I was like, oh my God, I still have these.
I don't know how long it's been there, but I just noticed that on the 4X Gaming subreddit, they have Stars linked in the sidebar now.
People still play it.
Yeah, you can't. I don't know where they're getting serial numbers for it. I presume something at the generator or something.
There is a site where if you send a guy like $6,
Yep.
he will send you a key.
Okay, that's cool.
I have to remember where to find that. But yeah,
That's worth tracking down then.
people still play it, and there was something about that game, even though the interface was damned archaic, but they got something right about that one.
Yep. So, but no, I still play probably once a year. I'll play a big multi-month play-by-email 4X game with my friends. And, we have a blast with that. And right now it's usually Space Empires. We actually bought Endless Space when it came out to as our next big game, because it's like, Space Empires 5 was buggy and Space Empires 4 was getting old. And there hadn't been much in the 4X genre since then. And I actually bought, I think there was an early access or there was a beta or something that I got in Endless Space with.
Excuse me, yeah.
And I was really excited about it, and we were trying to figure out how to do the multiplayer. And eventually I went on the forums, and I forget exactly what he said, but one of the developers was listing all of the suggestions that people had made for Endless Space. And one of the suggestions was that they add play-by-email support. And he said, we're not adding play-by-email support because we're living in the 21st century.
Motherfucker, what?
And he lost at least a dozen sales that day that I know of.
Oh my
Like,
God.
what?
Oh.
Not support. Oh, let me tell you where you can shove that.
Jim, there is further evidence of that game's suckage right there.
Yep. and it's it's tragic because it had so much potential, and it just it didn't come through. It made me very sad. I still have
Yeah.
people. I still know people who are trying to work out how the combat system in that game works.
Uh, cards or
Yes,
something.
you play cards, and the cards have numbers on them, but there's no clear relationship as to how the
Oh
numbers
sure,
impact.
or sure. There are clear relationships. One has squiggles and one has missiles, and I don't fucking know. I hate that game. Okay, I don't hate it, but that
Yeah.
was such a the 4X space. It's
You know,
the space 4X space is really tough right now because
it
there have been
is.
so many failures and
Yeah,
so
and
many mediocre games.
I definitely went out there thinking that we were going to have, well, the 4X genre is in the middle of this renaissance, and this is a good time to launch because there's excitement in the 4X area. And then when I really went digging into it, I'm like, no, no, there are a lot of games coming out that are labeled 4X, and many of them are crashing and burning.
Yeah.
And there's a certain sense of fatigue that's setting into the market, and maybe this wasn't such a great idea. But I'm not going to think about that. I'm going to
No,
watch my.
because people want a good one. I mean, a lot of people say they still want Master of Orion 1 or 2, and that's fair. But still,
Yep.
people do want something new, which is why I think Distant Worlds is doing fairly well. But
Yes.
I think this is why I think your game could do well because it also has a uniqueness to it that people want. I mean, the last big one that came out, what was it, Horizon? Oh my God,
Yeah, that was.
That was
I
the worst.
Yeah.
played it. I tried. I played the preview. It was like, all right, this is kind of okay. And then I kept playing. And I was like, it's not feeling any. That's why I really haven't done a review because I'm like, ugh. I'd rather play Diablo 3 right now. You know.
Yeah. Well,
I'd rather play Goat Simulator.
Do you have that?
What, Goat Simulator?
Yeah. Do you have that?
Yes. I hope
And
that goats will be in every space game. Like there needs to be a goat race.
so Goat Simulator is awesome. You're saying you endorse it. Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying it's fun for 5 minutes.
But it's $10.
Yeah, but okay. So I got Broforce. There's been nothing in my life but Broforce since I
Well,
got Broforce.
that game is fucking incredible. Thank you for telling me about that. Do you know this game, John? Broforce?
no, I haven't heard of it.
Oh,
Oh.
go buy it now. We'll wait.
Weird.
Good. I'll put the video in the stream. Hang on. I'll put the latest video in the. I don't know if you'll be able to hear it though.
I was playing it right before the show, so it's also in the stream from me.
Okay, well now I'm looking it up.
Hang on. Let me see if I can. Let me see if I can do this. Let me see if this will work. I don't know if you guys will be able to hear my computer though. There's.
Well, the
Broforce.
logo is a thing.
Oh, Broforce is. It's incredible.
Are those Contra-style explosions? What the?
Yep.
Yeah, they're
exactly
so.
what
So
they-
basically, you unlock 80s action heroes, right? And they're all bro something.
Listen up, maggots. It's going to take more than holding the trigger to win this war. I'm here to show you some advanced tactics.
Yeah. Then there's Blade Bro, which is Wesley Snipes with a katana. Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
My favorite so far, my favorite name is Brobocop. Like they could have gone with Robrocop, but they just went even sillier with Brobocop, which
I think my best character is Judge Bro because
Judge Bro is fantastic. Judge Bro is fantastic, and it took me a while to get used to the MacGyver character, but once you,
You mean
start clicking,
Brogyver?
yeah, Brogyver. But once you start clicking with that character, those little dynamite things he throws are just such. I don't know if you see the video I'm playing on the stream.
Yeah, I
but
do.
It's just you need to get this game. That's what I've been playing for the last day or two, and yeah, it's so good. It's so good, people. Y'all need to get
It's about
this.
democracy.
I can tell.
Bringing liberty to those pixelated.
Yeah,
Whoa.
So, Brian, we need to multiplayer this thing because I just
that's
remembered.
right,
Oh my
we
God, it's got
do.
multiplayer.
Oh, that's right, we do. Oh my God. Okay, guys, we're gonna cut the podcast off now because I want to do some Broforce with. Do you even bro, Jim? Do you even?
You know what? That should actually be. Oh my God, that worm thing. I haven't been that far. Wow. I heard
No,
they're actually adding Ripley in one.
Yeah,
of the
it's
games.
Rip Bro. It's Rip Bro.
Oh, jeez.
The first female bro is Rip Bro. Ellen Rip Bro, I think is her name. And they're gonna add new bros every month, they say. So there's almost an infinite amount of bros they can add.
They need to add Hicks bro, and then he can just be like, bro over, man.
Bro over. Yeah, that's what he does. He cries. He throws his tears. That would be his weapon. Would be his tears. Anyway, guys, we're gonna cut this off because I want to play some Broforce before I collapse. But John, I want to thank you for coming on, and it's late where you are, and talking to us for almost 2 hours.
Yeah, did you listen to
just
last
about.
week's show, by the way? Because it's kind of a similar conversation.
Yeah.
Because
Sorry, go ahead.
last week we had is it John Henry?
Yes.
Yeah, John. I want to call him Jack because his pen name is Jack Campbell.
Oh yeah, the author.
But
yeah,
and
Yeah,
it
Lost
was interesting about his books because he doesn't go full on hard science, but he goes kind of firm science. So he's got faster than light because you need it to tell the story. But
yes, yep.
it's I do like his treatment of realistic time dilation and consideration of, hey, my ships are 10 light minutes away from each other. That means my sensor data is old and my communications are bad. So
Yes,
so it's kind of neat.
He does talk a lot about the effects of that. Actually, there was just a novel that's coming out in a couple of weeks called Lockstep that's been getting a lot of press that has to do with a universe that doesn't have faster than light travel. And the way they solve it is, I think that they, like, every time they have ships leave on interstellar voyages, they freeze everybody on the planet, or on both planets, and wait for the ships to get there, and then they wake everybody up.
That has to be really expensive, yet saves a lot on the electric bill.
It's true, assuming that, you get the Energy Star cryo tanks.
All right.
Okay.
Guys, we're calling this a night. John, we're going to try. Jim, let's try and get this up tomorrow because there's a timeliness involved.
Yeah, that's cool.
John, thank you so much for joining us. Guys in the stream, thank you so much for listening or watching. And everyone else, thank you. Sorry.
Yes. Thank you very much for having me.
Oh, it's actually been a pleasure. You should stop in the chat room more often because it has been really fun to talk to you. I've really enjoyed it, so thank you. But I'm going to cut the stream now. So have a good night, everybody.